It's been an interesting lifetime, I'll tell you. I'm so grateful to be here at this time. As you're all probably aware, the Earth and humanity are going through an ascension. We're leaving the third and fourth dimensional level of consciousness, and we're moving into a fifth dimensional level of consciousness. And when Jesus walked the earth, my perspective is that he was functioning at the high end of the fifth dimension. And what made him different from other people throughout history is that he had learned to connect his human consciousness with the consciousness of his divine soul. And the information that I have been given in meditation, when I ask the question, what is our soul? And just a side note here, I spent 3 years in a Lutheran seminary and was a Lutheran minister for a number of years. I have a 91-year-old brother who is still a practicing Lutheran minister. And I have a sister who's younger, and she's a Unity minister, all right? So we come from, well, an interesting family. But anyway, my older brother, he got his bachelor's degree in nuclear physics from University of Michigan and carried almost a 4-point average, which means he's, wow, okay, very head-oriented. And he graduated from a very prestigious Lutheran seminary. And a couple of years ago, I asked him, Bob, what did your seminary teach you about your soul? And he said, well, they taught us that we had one. Is that all they taught you? Yes. Did they ever tell you what your soul was? And he got an unforgettable expression on his face. He had never thought about that. And he said, no. And so I shared with him what I had gotten, and I was told in meditation that our soul is the consciousness of the Creator that lives and dwells in and through us. And Jesus, the man Jesus, had merged his human soul, his human consciousness, with his divine soul. And when he made the statement, my Father and I are one, that's what that statement means. The church fathers, they interpreted it that Jesus was the only Son of God, and they saw God up in heaven. But if you look at it, that God is within us, and Jesus' human consciousness and the divine consciousness of the Creator became one. That is how and why he could say, my Father and I are one. And that's why he told us that everything that you see and about me and what I can do, you can do, and even greater things than this can you do. And the only criteria is, like him, we need to merge our human consciousness with our divine soul. And our body, our mind, our emotions become the vessels and the vehicles through which our divine soul can not only experience, but also express. Now, how many lifetimes have you had here? How many vessels and vehicles has your soul had? Your soul is always you, but it's had, a dozen, 100, 200, and not only here on the earth, but virtually in my experience, all light workers are descended souls. That is, we've come from higher levels of consciousness. And the reason was, well, there are several reasons, but the primary one, we wanted the experience of experiencing the whole realm of dimensions, regardless of how high or how low they were. That's how we learn. And to learn it, you can't learn a game, fully experience a game sitting in the bleachers. You have to be down on the playing field. And the earth is a school, and this is the playing field. And we chose to come here to learn what the earth school has to teach. And for me, I believe it's one of the primary lessons, if not the primary lesson, is to become a Christed human being. And to be able to do not only what Jesus did, but now it's not just one man, but we have, how many light workers do we have in the world? It's in the millions, tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions. Now we can create together heaven on earth. And it all begins by creating it within ourselves. And as we create that within ourselves, that influences the people that we live with, our family. It influences the people we work with. It influences our friends, our neighbors, and literally almost anyone that we meet. So we're radiating out this Christ energy to them. And if they are attracted to it, they will begin to emulate us. And that's how it's going to unfold. And that's how it is unfolding. There is, now please, what I say, hear that this person, it's my opinion, my experience, it's what I believe, all right? But it doesn't mean it's the truth. It's my truth. And I share it with you so you can accept or modify or reject what it is that doesn't feel right to you. And in understanding this, it's more an emotional reaction that you need to listen to rather than the mental reaction. Our emotional mind works at a higher level and is more powerful actually than our mental mind. So be aware of your reactions and accept what feels right to you, modify or disregard the rest of it, all right? So the earth, historically, it's always been a third dimensional planet. And in recent years, it's moving closer to the fourth dimension. And since 2012, it's now considered a fourth dimensional planet. Now, the third dimension is based on fear, limitation, separation. They're all negative, they're all limiting. And the fourth dimension, that can be described in one word, and that word is chaos, okay? Because we're transfusing from a third dimensional level of consciousness into a fifth dimensional level of consciousness. And the fifth dimension is based on love, on peace, on joy, and at one-ment. There is no separation in the fifth dimension. We're all one. We're one with the planet. We're one with one another. We're one with our soul. We're one with the spirit realm, with the angels and the nature spirits. Okay? So instead of this taking centuries, we're going to go through it in a relatively short period of time. And the period of time is roughly like a lifetime. And we began this back in the mid to late 1930s. And we're to be completed somewhere in the around the end of the century. Okay? I'm sorry, I messed up there. If you add 75 years to the, somebody do the math for me here, okay? Anyway, we've got a relatively short period of time to move beyond where humanity has ever been on this planet. And what a change it is. And the effects that it has on us personally. There are a couple of things that I would suggest to you in order to go through this transition from a third to a fifth dimensional being and to merge with your human consciousness with the consciousness of your soul. And one of the suggestions, and these are both, I think, important. Meditation. The subconscious part of our mind is 85 to 88% of our mind is subconscious. Only 12 to 15% is the conscious mind. Our whole educational system is geared to only develop that small conscious mind, totally ignoring the subconscious. In order to communicate with things that are not physical, we have to do it with the subconscious mind. And that's where meditation plays a role, because in that state, which is scientifically, it's called the alpha state, you're working out of conscious and subconscious minds together as one. And you have the potential of working out of up to 100% of your mental capacity, whereas we're almost always just working out of the 12 to 15% of the conscious mind. And it's for us to consider ourselves an intelligent, involved, informed people when we're only working out of 12 to 15% of our brain. That doesn't make any sense at all. So in meditation, we're working out of up to 100%. Our conscious mind gets virtually all of its information from our five senses. And our conscious mind is limited in that it can only hold one thought at a time, all right? So it's inundated with all of this information coming in from our eyes and our ears and our taste and our smell and our touch. And the subconscious mind in the course of a day is totally, completely ignored until we're ready to go to sleep. Now, to move from the alpha, the awake state to the sleeping state, we have to go through the alpha state, which is the meditative state. And in that state, our mind is slowed down, our muscles are relaxed, our subconscious begins to surface when the brain waves hit about 13 brain waves per second. So between 13 and 8 brain waves per second, we're functioning out of conscious and subconscious together. At 7 brain waves per second, the conscious mind clicks off. But the conscious mind has to slow down to about from 22 brain waves per second down to 13 before it is even aware of the subconscious mind. Now, one of my goals in life, and this is one of the techniques that I'm also using, to live as much of my awake time on the cusp of the alpha state, 12, 15, 10 brain waves per second, so that I can quickly slip into and out of the alpha state, and where necessary, use more of my mind than just that little conscious mind. All right? And because our conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time, the second suggestion, and this is hard. It's hard for me, and I'm sure it'll be hard for virtually anyone, to always be aware of the thought you're holding in your mind. And just, what a level of self-discipline that takes. And I'm not noted for having a whole lot of that, all right? My wife will vouch for that. Okay. So anyway, remember, what are you thinking? And if it's of a lower vibration, it's probably negative, it's fear-induced, it's worry, it could be grief, it could be sadness, okay? And nothing productive comes out of that. It takes a lot of energy, it creates depression, all right? And as soon as you're aware that you're holding a thought that's less than love, peace, joy, at one-ment, as soon as you're aware of that, change your thinking. And this is where a mantra can come in. And not a mantra, I would suggest you have a whole list of mantras, all right? And a mantra is something that is just a short saying that is powerful, that is uplifting, that brings joy, that empowers, that builds up self-image, okay? and replace that. And the more you do this, you're going to find your thinking patterns are changing, and you're going to be living more closer to that being in that alpha state. And your thoughts, well, many of your emotions come out of thoughts. So as you change your thoughts, you're changing your emotions. You're uplifting the emotions. And can you imagine living in heaven and having negative thoughts, limiting thoughts, angry thoughts? Not going to happen, all right? So what is it that you want out of life? What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish? Well, we're all here, I believe, to raise our consciousness to the highest level we possibly can. And the highest level is what's called Christ consciousness. And that is where you're working out of the alpha state, working with the conscious and subconscious mind. And in that state, you can communicate and talk with, I call it a spirit family. Most of us have between a dozen and 20 spirit beings that are with us 24/7. And usually 12 of them are 11 or 12 of them are angels, all right? And they've been with us through many lifetimes. And when we pray to your spirit family. And when you meditate, that is the state in which you can communicate directly with your soul. And in the meditative state, you can dialogue with your soul. In prayer, it's a monologue where you're just talking, and usually you don't get an answer because when you're talking, you're not in the alpha state, you're in the beta state, and the subconscious doesn't work that well in the beta state. And so the answer comes back in the alpha state, and you're in the beta state, it goes right by. So if you are in the alpha state, you can hear the answer. You can respond. You can, as I say, you can dialogue with your soul. And if you have questions to ask your spirit family, ask your divine soul. And if you don't get answers that are satisfactory, ask to be connected with the highest level of being that can give you the highest answer necessary to solve the situation. Okay? And then be open to receive it. Now, the subconscious mind, its languages are somewhat reversed from the conscious mind's languages. The conscious mind works primarily with thought, whereas the primary language of the subconscious mind is vision, audio. Okay, you can see it. I'm sorry, sight. All right. And the secondary language of the subconscious is emotion. The secondary language of the conscious mind is also emotion. Okay. The third least used language of the subconscious mind is language, words. All right. Whereas that's the primary language of the conscious mind. So to be in the alpha state, you can have much complete, much deeper communication. And because it's visual, you can visualize things that are not here in physical form. You can see and talk with the angels. You can see and talk with the nature spirits. You can see and talk with a tree, if you're a tree hugger. All right. So your whole world has expanded from beyond that limited five senses, and it's moved into higher dimensional, because many of the things that are non-physical are functioning at least the sixth dimension. And did you know that the majority of what makes us is not physical? Interesting, isn't it? Have you ever seen a thought? Have you ever heard, seen, touched an emotion? Our mental body is made up of thoughts. Our emotional body is made up of feelings. They're not physical. Our soul is not physical. They're all made out of etheric energy. Our physical body is made out of electromagnetic energy. When we die, our etheric bodies leave our physical body, and we are still exactly the same person after death that we were before we died, the same values, beliefs, attitudes, etc. Okay, but we're no longer confined and restricted by a physical body. We can see and hear what's happening in the room that we die in. All right, and we can see the tunnel on the other side that we're going to go in if we choose to go into heaven. And the relationships and so on, that when we go into heaven, wow, how many relatives do you have there going back up to 7 generations that are there to welcome you home? And yes, heaven is called home. And we here on earth, when we leave heaven to come here, they say, enjoy school, because this is the classroom where we come to learn lessons that we can't learn in the heavenly realm. And the frequencies there are too high. Okay? So our soul, it's the divine essence within us. And our life can be so much richer, so much fuller, so much more vibrant, so much more meaningful if we're letting our soul express itself through this physical, mental, emotional vehicles. That's why we're here. That is a primary reason. And I suspect that we'll keep coming back here until we've learned that important lesson. So, hey, you know now why you're here, at least one of the primary reasons that you're here. And you know just a couple of really easy, well, not easy, but things that you can do with meditation and with mantras and monitoring your thoughts, monitoring your whole field of energy. You monitor your thoughts, you're monitoring your whole field of energy. And you're radiating different energy, you're having different thoughts, you're doing different things. And you're having different relationships with people. So that's what I have to share with you for tonight. And now, if anyone has anything they would like to add, subtract, or question, now's your chance. Mike, I'm off the hook. Is that right?
I guess so. Um, Not just yet. When you get in contact with your soul through mantras, meditation, um, that's kind of a gateway to touching those on the other side. I would think. Is that correct? Is that one tool you can use to connect with loved ones? You said your masters, angels, and guides. Um, Within the alpha state, sometimes it comes through very clearly for me, and other times it's not. Is that some of the noise that's in the physical presence that we're in our daily lives?
Yes, it probably
Is
is.
that or is that part of the challenge in learning how to get in touch with your soul and your divine essence?
Well, I would suggest, first of all, going into the meditative state and getting to the highest level of consciousness that you can get to. You can only receive answers from the other side at your then existing state of consciousness.
Mm.
Okay, and if you're asking a spiritual question or if you're asking to connect with a loved one, you're going to have to be at or near their level of consciousness. Okay?
Mhm.
So you can ask your soul and you can ask your spirit family to help me be at the right level of consciousness to accomplish whatever it is you're there to accomplish. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Oh, can I just talk?
Yes.
I'll have my turn.
I one of the things, I had a friend who used to say all the time, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, worry, worry, worry. I'm worried about my friend, I'm worried about my daughter. And then I finally began to realize that your thoughts of worry is negative energy that you are sending to that person. So worrying to is not helping. Worrying is making things worse because your thoughts are extremely powerful in the energy that they send out.
You are
Then put
1000%
the other light
correct
on.
in that. If you're concerned about another person, you see them
That's better.
enjoying the solution to the problem that they're confronted with, be it health or otherwise, financial, relationship. You see them being through that and on the other side. Okay? That is, we can be extremely powerful helping a family and friends if we will use that positive approach with them. Okay? And use that with yourself too. We're all going to be confronted with challenges from now and then. Don't focus on the challenge, focus on the solution and feed that solution a lot of love, a lot of joy, a lot of energy, and see it manifesting in the physical realm. Okay? And what do you have on your mind?
Carl, thank you very much for your very meaningful words. I wondered if you could say a few words about the connection with dreams. I found, for me, I can fall into a very intense dream state in a short period of time. You know, like early morning, for instance, say 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And what function are the dreams helping us with in the conscious and subconscious realms?
Dreams are coming 100% from the subconscious. There may be some conscious effect because of dealing with things that are in your daily life. Dreams can play a number of different roles. They can help bring solutions. They can help telling you, stop doing this, start doing that. Okay. They can help you understand. And if you wake up in the morning, you remember the dream, and I don't know what that meant. Go back into a meditative state and ask, what was the message? All right.
And it usually has to do with something going on in your life, my life, right now.
Yep.
I can tie it to that.
Yep.
Whether it's school and I've got to learn something from this, or fear and a fear that I have to deal with, you know. So the range of dreams, and I'm pretty easy most times to remember my dreams.
Good.
And sometimes I want to just go back and say, let me finish that dream. You know, you wake up in the middle of it and you say, oh, it didn't get resolved. And so I guess there's a message in that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Anyone else here?
Carl, I have a question.
Yes, Sue.
So, for me, the meditative state is something that I want to be at like 24/7, right? All the time, right? I want to live that way, that consciousness, to be connected to God, connected to myself, connected to everyone and everything. And I find that more and more that I can be that way with without necessarily taking the time to meditate. Like I can live it without. I don't know what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't
I
know.
think I do.
Okay.
What I'm hearing you say is that you're living on the cusp of the alpha state, where you can slip in and slip out quite easily.
Mhm.
And that to me is a wonderful way to live. Now, so long as you can keep up with your earth responsibilities and doing that.
Right.
So it's a matter of maintaining a balance here.
Right. Well, I will say that I can usually find joy pretty much in anything that I do. Not saying that perhaps sometimes I might want to do something else, but I can, and that kind of enables me like to do mundane things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I never really thought about the alpha state and the beta state the way that you said. And I think what you have said is very meaningful to me. So I really appreciate being here tonight. So
Well, I like what you have said because you have achieved what many people are still striving to achieve. So my congratulations to you.
well, thank you. But I do believe that um, that we're all, I shouldn't say capable because it's within us. That energy is already there, right? I just need to allow it, right, to be expressed. I need that divine that's within me. I need to allow it to be. And that divine energy is within all of us. Right?
You brought up another point that
Okay.
I should have addressed and didn't. Most of us, we have created in our value systems, our beliefs, our attitudes, behaviors, etc., blockages. All right. And they're hurdles that impede our soul from being able to fully express and experience through us. And for example, balance, balance between our male and female nature, balance between our conscious and subconscious, balance between our head and our heart, a balance between our feet on the ground and our head in the heavens. Okay. So balance is extremely important here to maintain the lifestyle that you're describing. And you have been able to do that. And again, my gratitude to you for that and sharing that, because that's a goal that I think most light workers strive for. And thanks for sharing that.
Just one more thing. It's much harder to resist than it is to accept, right? So the energy that I sometimes use to resist something or a blockage or whatever takes a lot more energy um, than than the divine energy just to let it flow and to be kind or loving or whatever it is.
Thank you. That's a good sermon in itself. Yes, that's absolutely right. Yes, Ortrud has something here she wants to add.
I just want to mention that I consider meditation a way of life. And what you're talking about is just that. You're talking about meditation being a way of life. And so that you incorporate that energy vibration. And this is one of the reasons why we ask our individuals that we work with is to, if they are not meditating, to at least meditate as you're going to sleep at night and as you're waking up, because you're in that alpha state, which is that in-between state of the conscious and the subconscious. So that way you can then affirm, if you're waking up in the morning, you can greet your family, your spiritual family, and everyone, and have them there with you, and then actually greet the day, and then greet the day with love in your heart. And then you can also visualize your day. You can visualize, for instance, if you're someone that's going to a job, You can visualize that. You can visualize and sending light and love to that arena, every place, and putting out that signal that, and when you're even driving or anything, that light and love is radiating from you, because then you're uplifting that whole energy pattern, and so that you can live in that meditative state. You're not in the meditative state as you would be if you're in a total alpha state, but that's the way you can bring it, I'm going to say, to life, to reach to the outer, and that's really a beautiful way to live. I do want to remark, though, that I know we tend to think, that if something's negative in your life, it's not good. Well, that may be true, but yet on the other hand, something that is some kind of an issue for you or so on, that also is the arena and the things within you that need to be resolved. So, we can't just always, we're on this earth plane. So we're going to be focusing in on certain kind of energies. We're here to learn lessons, like Carl said, and to grow and to become. And so if we were always in that state where we didn't really have to deal with anything, then we wouldn't be growing within our soul. So I just want to mention that. And I have really worked on myself. I've been meditating for 50 years and teaching and so on. And that's what I want to do. And if you listen to yourself, it can be work. You can be sweeping the floor, you can be washing dishes. And what's your chatter about? Is it good things? If it's not, start saying a prayer. So change it over so that you can come back in that space of that oneness with that is divine. So that's what I have to share. Thank you.
Carl?
Thank you. Yes.
Carl?
Yes, Linda.
This is Linda
Yes.
from Sanibel, Florida.
Yes.
And it is
Hi.
and it's so good to see you and Ortrun again. It's been a long time, a hurricane and you name it. But
Yes.
thank you so much. And I'm telling you, whatever you said was spot on with me. And what I'm very much into the different dimensions and things like that. And I was so happy to hear you say the fifth dimension is a Christ consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I believe what I've been kind of studying since, I don't know, it's been 20 years I've been, talking with you and Ortrun and so on. But I feel like the fifth dimension is kind of puts you in an automatic meditative state.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a Christ consciousness and you're living that. And I feel that when you're in the fifth dimension, you're in the meditative state. And I find that kind of exciting. I don't
Yes.
know. It's kind of true for me. And I
Yes.
also was wondering what you're thinking too about the Christ consciousness. And of course, I go back to Urantia with all this Christ consciousness and how, remember, back in the day, Carl, and
Yeah.
that expanded my mind. Okay, and it really helped me in my journey. But would you say then kind of the Christ consciousness is the essence of the soul?
I would say it's certainly one of the major marking points
Mhm,
to having a successful life. Yes.
mhm. And I was also wondering with is there a common thread between the ascended masters and a Christ consciousness?
I'm sure that there are, Linda. And in fact, I would guess there would be many different common or threads that would run through it all. I think one of the most powerful would be love.
Right, that's right.
Joy
That's right.
would be, and certainly a sense
right.
of at one-ment,
Okay.
okay, and a perception of the essence of the Creator is in everyone and everything.
Right.
And in the fifth dimension, as we grow into that, we become more and more aware and can sense the Christ consciousness that exists. Well, science has said now it exists in photons, which is smaller than in atoms.
Mhm.
They've found individual consciousness in single atoms, in all atoms, in fact. And if we can sense the presence of the divine in everyone and everything we breathe, the water that we drink, all right, the clothes that we wear, and just everything in our life is an aspect of the Creator with divine consciousness and is here to support our growth in divine consciousness. Okay, and as we acknowledge them and acknowledge the divine essence within them, we are enhancing them. And to have that kind of mutual feedback coming into us constantly and responding to it in kind, wow.
And that's why I brought it up, because a lot of times you hear, oh, the Hindus, and you believe in that and this and that. Though, what I see is a common thread of love,
Mhm.
joy,
Yeah.
peace in what they're saying. They're not gods, but they're Christ conscious people, perhaps. That's the thread, the Christ consciousness. And
Yes.
that's what I tell people. It's not, and I think that's going to carry the planetary ascension and help unite all these different beliefs and things under a common thread of, see, yeah, ascended masters. It's a Christ consciousness, end of story, on the earth
Yeah.
plane.
I think you're right. I'm in full agreement with you.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
That's what I wanted to know. That's why I'm so
Yeah.
excited to hear from you, because you can't always talk about this kind of stuff with just anybody, you know?
Well, I try not to listen to that message.
Yeah, well, I live
I'm-
in that world, kind of it. Oh, that's nice. Well, sure, nice to see you again. I hope to see you again.
Well,
really
no,
nice.
I'm just the bull in the china shop. I'm going to say what I think can be helpful. whether
Yeah, me
they're
too.
ready.
I'm at
I
that
don't take
age now.
I don't take responsibility
No.
for how they might respond to it.
Me either. And you know what else with the meditation thing, and you're talking about negative thoughts. And that's you can't, as soon as you start doing that, you're done. But meditation pulls you out of it. But you know what else I've kind of tested for myself? If you start getting all deep into all your business and you're overthinking everything, and you kind of talked about this reversal. If you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, whenever you think there's too much in your head, do that once and see how the focus changes. And so when you mentioned something was reversed in whatever your conversation was, I thought of that. And that might be reversing your thinking, and it's erased. It's so
That's right.
interesting. Well, I've been testing it for a few months now, so we don't know. It's true for me.
Okay.
But I
Thank
think
you.
it's kind of
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you for sharing.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
I have one more thing I want to say. A week ago, I was on a retreat, and the sister who led the retreat, this was via Zoom, of course, was telling us a story about a class because she was a retired teacher, and these would be teenagers. And the lesson was to go out into nature and see what God is saying to you in nature.
Yeah.
And this was the most greatest metaphor, I think, that this came out of a 14 or 15-year-old. He said, it's like the grass. It gets mowed down, but it grows back up again. And that's what our life is. We experience getting mowed down, but we grow back up. And I thought that was so wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I thank you for sharing all of this. It's been wonderful being with you, and I hope it's been beneficial in some way. And just please accept Ortran's and our blessings and our best wishes for you, and keep on growing.